Hello, my lovelies. Happy Wednesday. Happy scoping out. I'm so glad that you're here. I usually end up doing these scope topics kind of like after the fact, after I've processed something, after I've gone through something, and I go, oh my gosh, people need to know how I got through that because that was really tough. And human problems are human problems. And this somebody out there is going to be really grateful for these tips and tricks, right? But I actually happen to be in the middle of a funk right now. So this is more of a real-time practice. And in fact, me even doing this scope is one of the pieces of my practice and staying present and aware of this funk as part of what we do as humans, right? So what do you do when I'm talking about a funk, when I'm talking about your blues running deep? I call it soul weariness. This is beyond physical tired. We work hard in this world to make the ends meet, to get the household running, to get our shit done. We work hard. And there is a time, as we know, in a 24-hour cycle where we're awake and we're doing, and then we sleep. And that's all normal and that's good and it's fantastic and nobody questions the need to sleep. That's body tired. That's physical, of course, right? Body needs to heal, cells need to regenerate and repair, disease needs to be fought off, memories need to move from short-term to long-term, whole 9 yards. This is a different kind of tired. This is a different kind of weary. And this is the kind of weary that we don't really recognize as an appropriate part of our cycle, right? You know, we get our downtimes. We can even recognize emotional downturns. Sure, we might be grieving something. Everybody's allowed to feel a certain amount of the blues after a loss or a hardship or when life has just been particularly difficult. We allow for that. I'm not even talking about that emotional tired. I am talking about that kind of tired that just goes straight through to the core. When eating right, exercising, getting the right amount of nutrients and everything you know you're supposed to do isn't meeting your needs. When talking to a friend or your life coach or your therapist or your church group or whatever isn't getting the job done, right? When you are at the very core, absolutely exhausted. You've just been going too hard, too fast without that spiritual, energetic recharge deep inside. I call that soul weariness. And it's hard to identify sometimes because if you're not taking care of yourself when you're physically tired or sick, if you're not giving your body that time to repair, when that moves on, it actually will lead into soul weariness, right? Because now you're running on empty and you're still out there full bore, getting crap done day after day with no juice. And eventually, you know, your life force wears out. Same is true of your emotional well-being. If you're a person who isn't consciously recharging those stores, it will lead to soul weariness, right? It'll get to that point where it's just something else. So it's a little bit nebulous on the edges, right? These aren't distinct phases. But I have to talk about this because, like I said, I'm in one of these right now. I am soul weary. I am exhausted at the deepest level. I have been very transparent with you guys about, you know, the trials of being a single mom and helping kids through these hard adolescent years and the challenges of being a solopreneur and trying to build a business all by myself and, you know, all of those things. And so you can see how all of those things would eventually move into just this pure exhaustion. And I'm somebody who refuels at a spiritual level. I meditate every single day. I journal every single day. I seek out relationships that feel like they fuel me. Not just that we have a good time, but that I'm fueled and recharged and I feel better after having conversations with these people, right? So I'm even a person who's conscious about this, and this soul weariness has still hit me. So let's talk about what to do when you recognize this is beyond your typical take a nap kind of tired. The very first thing I want you to do, and take this first step so seriously, and this is true of any kind of tired, stop pretending that you're better than this tired. Stop pretending like you shouldn't feel this way, that it means something about your character, that you're weak. Stop that story in your head that says you don't have a right to feel what you feel. Whatever that takes for you. If you need to replay that last 20 seconds or whatever that was, replay that last 20 seconds or whatever that was. Seriously, this is the first step, because most often what happens with people is they go, I shouldn't be. Life is good. I got a roof over my head. I got clothes on my back. What the hell's wrong with me? Why can't I just, fill in the blanks? Because you can't. Because you can't. And if you were sitting in front of somebody else going through the same thing, you know damn good and well that you'd be telling them, it's normal, it's cyclical, you'll be fine. You can know everything's good, but sometimes you're just sad. You would be going through this whole justification process why it's okay for somebody else. Allow that same grace and understanding with yourself. Okay? That is step one. Step two is begin to get curious about what it brings up. So for me, oh, God, I'm just so tired at the soul level. I need to do more Lottie Hans. But rather than run in and fix it right away, I'm doing those things anyway, right? But rather than expect this quick fix and just power through, and I shouldn't feel this way, so I've got to get it done. Think about, I got to back up a little bit, because that brought up another point about why we shouldn't tell ourselves not to feel this way. I'm going to tell you this, and you've heard me say it before. The more you tell yourself you shouldn't feel a certain way, the more guilt you build up in yourself, the more negative self-talk you create, and the more you perpetuate the cycle you're trying to break. So just put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? I shouldn't say that anymore. I'm from Colorado. That means a whole different thing right now. Put it in your pipe and smoke it. You're perpetuating the cycle with that negative self-talk, that telling yourself that you shouldn't go through, that you should be stronger, that other people don't go. No, bullshit. Everybody goes through it. So do you. It's totally okay. So, sorry, I had to back up a little bit. So rather than barrel through, I shouldn't feel this way, I've got to fix it right now. And keep in mind, I actually am still upping my meditations. I'm still upping all of the things that I do to refuel myself at the soul. Had a hike planned on Saturday, and it snowed, so I couldn't go do that, because that's one of I plugging my soul right into the batteries. So I'm doing those things, but I'm not doing it to fix the problem. I'm not acting like the problem shouldn't be there to begin with. Do you understand? Instead, what I'm doing, because if I'm acting like that problem isn't getting there, it shouldn't be there, I'm perpetuating the cycle. So instead, I'm going, what is this bringing up for me? This is really interesting. What is nagging away at my energy stores that I'm not aware of? I am grieving my son. He turns 18 in a little over a month. So there's an actual grief there that I had sort of sidelined. And then we got in a big fight last week. So that exacerbated the grief, right? That created a whole nother story. And there's all of these things that I'm tapping into now that I'm going, where's this coming from? Where is there an opportunity for me to either behave more graciously with myself, behave more graciously with someone else, express sincere gratitude, not, I should be thankful I have these things, not that, but truly go in and recognize what I have in those friendships, calling them up, having that conversation that is just effusive and grateful and open and warm and vulnerable, right? Allowing yourself this space to see where the opportunity is for you. And I'll tell you, the more curious I get, the more things I see to do both of those things. I have more work to do here, more consciousness and presence to put here. I also have more gratitude that I can be tapping into over here. Again, not because I should, because I feel guilty, but because there's really genuinely a lot in my life that is still full and rich, even while I'm going through this funk. So it's not, oh gosh, I'm in a funk, but I shouldn't be. Everything's pretty good. No, it's not that. It's I'm going through a funk. And this other thing exists. And this place of gratitude exists. And I've got all of this to be grateful for. Do you understand the difference? It's not, but we're not negating the funk, the blues. We're not saying that shouldn't be there. We're allowing it its space. We're looking for the and. What else exists on this spectrum in our life that is painful and comfortable? What else is in there? The third thing to do, and this is the one I'm working on, is to trust. Trust the funk, trust the blues, trust that this is cyclical. It's only part of a cycle. That it has meaning, positive meaning, that it has opportunity if we allow it. Remember, we're looking for the and. That's a beautiful opportunity. Trust that there's some part of this that is just part of the human experience. That's all it is. That's all it has to mean. And the more you trust that, the easier step one is to stop feeling that guilt that you shouldn't be feeling these things in the first place. Right? So you're going to stop telling yourself you shouldn't feel this way. You're going to get curious about the opportunities. You're going to trust. You're going to learn something from this, grow through this, be better and stronger on the other side of this. You don't have to do anything with that. Just trust. That gives you all the space and time you need to allow, and allow is our fourth step, allow your new mindset to come in. Now, I'm not there yet. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am still in a funk. I am still soul weary right now. So my allowing is really even just having the scope and being vulnerable with you. My allowing is letting this part of the meaning. Remember the trust that it has meaning, is that we can all grow from this. That there's other people out there right now going through a funk that can go, oh my God, if a life coach can feel soul weary, maybe there's not something so wrong with me, right? So as I put my trust in just the human condition and the rightfulness of my emotions, as I put my trust in that, now I'm not muscling my life and trying to make it something. It's going to shorten the time that I'm in my funk, and I'm creating the space. I'm not filling up the space with anxiety and stress and shoulds and shouldn'ts and hateful messages. I'm allowing the space for the positive next phase of my cycle to move in, right? Because the next time I go on a hike, that hike has been rescheduled to this Saturday. Let me tell you, I know what I need at the soul level. I am giving myself those things. And because I'm allowing the space for those things to do the work they need to do on me, they can. And they will. Those shifts will happen for me. They just will, because these things are temporary. They don't last forever. So I don't have to create a negative meaning around this. I don't have to say it means anything about my tenacity, my abilities, my strength as a woman. I don't have to make it mean any of that unless I want to. Why would you want to? And now that you can see that you assign that meaning, and now that you can see that you can let that meaning go and allow another meaning to come in, and allow for that shift to happen, and allow for that strength and tenacity and efficacy to build. How else do we build patience and strength? We go through trials and tribulations, right? That's how it happens. So when we can trust that, we can allow that to develop within us. We shorten the cycle that we're in the blues. We allow for the shift to happen. And then we lengthen the time that we're feeling strong. We lengthen the time we're feeling available to our lives and to others' lives. Right? So I went a little over my time. Not too bad, a minute or two. I hope that's helpful for you. Please stay in touch with me. Make sure you are subscribing to my channel on YouTube so that you don't have to miss a single one of these. And tweet me your questions. What are you going through? You can leave comments here. Tweet me at Triffany Hammond on Twitter. Stay in touch with me on there's so many ways to stay in touch with me. Facebook, my blog, blah, blah, blah. Stay in touch with me. Remember, you are not going this alone. You are not, and this scope is free. It's like free life coaching. So engage, use your resources, give yourself all the grace you need, and a great big hug from me. And I will see you next time, my lovelies. Bye. And I probably won't be in a funk by then. But if I am, that's okay too.